take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Mark Hughes. I'm the Executive Director of the Vermont Racial Justice Alliance, and welcome again to Juxtaposition. Juxtaposition, you caught me. Guilty as charged. I'm here, and I'm right over here in the studio. We're shooting live. Excited to be here with you today. It's one of those days. Issues affecting black folks and black folks affecting change. That's Juxtaposition, a Vermont Racial Justice Alliance program here on Channel 17 here. I'm glad to be here. I was in Killington all day long, and I was just telling some of the folks around here, you know, how gorgeous that was down there. But as I was down there, I was going to have a guest on. I was going to have Taisha Green on this evening, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it. Came up with some personal issues that she needed to get settled, but maybe we'll have her on another time. But I got to thinking about that thing and pivoted to another topic. Hey, check this out. So imagine this. So it's, you've got the Republican Party is the party of old Abe Lincoln is the party that was the Abolition Party initially. In the Abolition Party, obviously, that's the ones that, moved forward on the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendments after, pushed forward Reconstruction after slavery. But it was the Republican Party. It was the Republican Party that was anti-slavery back in the day. And somewhere along the lines, and I like this because I was talking to somebody about this the other day. And I think it was maybe, sometime maybe in the early to mid 60s when, you had this thing called Dixiecrats where the Democrats started jumping ship just because of platform, other reasons, political, economic, but started jumping ship. And a lot of the Democrats went to the Republican Party. The former Democrats, the old, the slave holders, the landholders, and so forth. So what you got is you got this, you got this flip today where you've got, it's just topsy-turvy because, if you're talking about anti-racism, it's not the Republicans that are talking about anti-racism, it's the Democrats. And we could go into a lot of detail on that, but just thinking about the fact that everybody, and now I want to admit that I'm a recovering Republican. You probably didn't know that about me. I am a recovering Republican, but I'm also I'm a recovering Democrat as well. So just so everybody knows, I don't really have a party affiliation right now. And I was just thinking about that today, and who's doing what, and it's been my experience since I've been in Vermont. Is that the Progressive Party hasn't been incredibly helpful either. I'm also a recovering progressive, by the way, a recovering progressive. And now with a progressive mayor, some of the things that we're seeing coming out of there, and it's not, I guess what I decided today as I was thinking about the program is maybe the only good party is a house party. So that's where we start in today. We'll talk about the house party instead of no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I want to cover this. This is the 7 Days article. What is this here? When I was in Killington today, I just wanted to say this is the first thing that I heard when I walked in the door. There's a consultant that's here from New York, and they were there to consult with the folks that I was with, and she said this. She said, "Hey, folks, in the room, just in case you didn't know, I was reading here recently that there's this. They're trying to decide what to do with the Racial Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Office, and they're considering just doing away with it." unprompted. I haven't been in the room for 2 minutes yet. And this is what a person from out of state who came to Vermont to do, who came to do some consulting, this is what she was able to read into some of the material that she had access to, which she was picking up. So I was just like, I was thinking about that. So here's what I'm holding is this is the, I think this came out at 7 Days last week. The director demanding the city pay her $7.5 million, alleging she faced racially motivated campaign of denigration. I think the long and short here, as I'm reading this through, is that there was, it looks like documented, some things going on internal to the administration where there's some fallout between the mayor and herself. And I guess, what this thing blew up into is it seems that, and this is a fact, is that the city released every shred of her records to the media, which is highly unusual. In fact, there was a standing policy that the city had that they would never release everything about an individual on a records release. And not only did they do that for Taisha Green over this last week on Taisha Green, but they did it within 24 hours. So that was pretty troubling. There's that part. And I'm going to pick this thing apart because I'm not going to spend, believe it or not, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but again, the only good party is a house party. So when you start taking a look at this thing, and I'm starting to understand what actually happened, it seems as though that former Director Green, the only reason why the city's not at the table with her is that she has a demand on the table, not a lawsuit. There's no litigation whatsoever. What she's saying is I need to be repaired, and what it looks like, based upon everything, and this is Courtney Lambden. Thanks, Courtney, for writing this. What it looks like to me is everything. The only reason why we're not seeing the city sitting down at the table with Taisha Green is the fact that she's talking about money. And this is reminiscent to me of a conversation of, yeah, we're happy to talk about you, but as long as you're talking about reparations, we're not going to sit at the table with you. We'll sit down with you as long as we know that we don't have to talk about money, which blows my mind. That if that's really where the city is right now, the only reason, you should sit down at the table and have that conversation. So, yeah, with this, the other thing that's going on here, because it's larger, and I want to share my open letter, is because the story's been told in a lot of ways, but what I wanted to do is kind of straighten this out. It was in 2019, Black Lives Matter was calling for the resignation of Moreau at that time. And they were also demanding that 3 police officers be terminated. Black community members and supporters, they were outraged, and because they discovered that BPD used excessive force at least on a few incidents, one of them which led to a death. It was at that time what we did is we introduced a proposal that would focus on addressing systemic racism in Burlington. What was going on was we introduced this proposal, and it was designed also to address, what was happening in the BPD, because obviously they're police, they're also employees of the city. So the REIB was created as a result of that, and the director position was in response to these community protests. Why am I telling you this? So it's important to talk about our origins of this department. First of all, let's make it clear that this is not the silver bullet. A department in the city is not a silver bullet, because the city is not going to fix our problems. We'll talk more about that later with some of the work that we're doing in the community. But it is important that we take a look and we kind of reflect on where this came from. So Burlington terminated 2 police chiefs before the director arrived on her first day. 1 week after the director arrived, the nation went into a full lockdown. And then 6 weeks from that time, the nation was shaken by the murder of George Floyd. Chronologically, that's what happened. Those are the facts. So we started this movement here in the city. In the following month, we challenged a then reluctant mayor to partner with us on Operation Phoenix Rise. What is Operation Phoenix Rise? I'm glad you asked. So here what we see with Operation Phoenix Rise, transforming the lives. This is the hook. The hook is pretty tight. It says, transforming the lives of Black and brown people by investing in their lives, holding space for their culture, providing them opportunity, and ensuring the equity that they deserve to thrive. Rise is restructuring public safety, implementing cultural empowerment, securing equal opportunity, and expanding racial equity, belonging, and inclusion. So this was the plan. This was a Racial Justice Alliance initiative. This went down in 2020. It was like around June timeframe when this was introduced. It was also what happened after this was the introduction of this, and this is the historic racial justice through economic and criminal justice. This is a resolution that was passed by the city council. We'll come back to that. Let's talk about Phoenix Rise. So with Phoenix Rise, and the reason why all of this is important, just to be clear, is first of all, we have the memories of a gnat. And secondly, there is a white backlash that is underway nationally right now. Well, everybody would love to conveniently forget everything that I'm trying to tell you right now. And right now, if you like, your eyes can glaze over and you can say, there's Mark talking again, blah, 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 and you can just keep it moving. Or you can stop for a minute, dial in, listen to what I'm telling you, and hear the facts about the history of what it is that we're experiencing right now. So, ready? Watch this. So, restructuring public safety, implementing cultural empowerment, you heard the rest. So, here's what the resolutions were. Again, this is a Racial Justice Alliance initiative that we placed in the laps of the city council and the sitting mayor. We call upon the mayor and the city council to declare racism a citywide health crisis. We further call upon the city council to resolve that a task force be established to consider an apology and a proposal for reparations for the role that Burlington has played in chattel slavery. And we call on Burlington to make a moral statement by prioritizing the eradication of systemic racism in the creation of a budget. Operation Phoenix Rise agenda and demands on restructuring public safety. Watch this. Because we're talking about public safety. This is 4 years ago. This is what we were asking for. As we are committed to shifting our moral narrative to one that values the lives of all, we must ensure that everyone enjoys safety and protection under the law. Our current system does not afford that. It is the reason that we call for an immediate restructuring of the entire public safety apparatus in the city of Burlington. There must be immediate and sustained refocusing on who, what, and where we are policing. Our civilian oversight law enforcement must place a priority on the wellness of our peace officers. The department must undergo an immediate 30% reduction in uniformed officers, release officers that hurt and kill people. The department transition must be accomplished with a maximum community engagement. The department must undergo a full operational and functional assessment, and a complete realignment implementation must take place upon completion of the assessment and analysis, and the city council must grant the police commission the authority to oversee this transition. So that was just the whole policing, the whole public safety thing. Then we went into implementing cultural empowerment. Now, some people who are watching this right now, what you're going to do is you're going to get stuck. What you're going to do is you're going to park on public safety and you're going to get stuck there. And when I get finished, you're still going to be there. For those who want to hear the rest of this, come with me because we're going to go to the next area here. implementing cultural empowerment. Because remember, this resolution that is a result of this document is a racial justice through economic and criminal justice, racial justice resolution, okay? So we'll come back to that. So, implementing cultural empowerment. Our communities of color are at the core of our values because this is where we live and interact. We call on the city to partner with the people of color-led businesses and community in the implementation of a cultural empowerment community collective. Located central to those it serves, the CECC will serve as a bastion of hope, purpose, and vision of the disempowered communities. A community center, youth activities center, education, training, and arts centers of excellence, economic development and community partnership, including adult basic education, basic computer skills, STEM development, entrepreneurial cultivation, technical assistance grant funds, and on and on. So, again, the plan was to divest and reinvest. We'll come back to what this actually looks like now. The next thing is securing equal opportunity. Now, again, you can get stuck or you can come with me. We are on the S in rise. It won't be long. We're almost done. Securing equal opportunity. Now, this is a good one because what we envisioned is an almost all white workforce of the city of Burlington would begin to take on some color. And so what we envisioned is that there would be a way in which we could protect them once they arrive. Securing equal opportunity, our values also inform us that everyone should be afforded an opportunity to prosper. This currently is not the case. The city must immediately establish an office of equal opportunity, staffed with an equal opportunity officer with corresponding responsibilities for complaints and complaint management. Assigned oversight of a newly formed minority-owned business city procurement program, and also assigned oversight of a newly formed and targeted economic empowerment program, which would include capital access programs for grants and loans, business-to-business incentive mentorship programs, as well as technical assistance programs for disempowered communities and businesses. I know what you're thinking. Where in the heck did all of this come from? I haven't heard a peep out of anybody to tell me anything about any of these things that he's talking about. And the reason why is because somehow or another, this all got drowned out because we were too busy talking about something else. Welcome to 2024. Let's get to the E. The E was expanding racial equity, inclusion, and belonging. So what we have here is we urge you to fund the racial equity, inclusion, and belonging function to enable full operational capacity. Capacity must include for data and policy analysis, training, and outreach. It's not rocket science. Funding must be made available for a full baseline equity assessment, and also full commitment must be made to ensure the implementation of a back-end infrastructure required to support the requisite data collection, aggregation, and correlation that will be required to support a data-driven outcome. So that's it. That's Operation Phoenix Rise. Thank you for your patience. Why did I go through all of that? The reason why is right now, it is egregious that what happened with our former director. It is. However, beyond that, it's also a crying shame that what we're experiencing is that there's this clapback has also created challenges with the function as it was created, because now all of a sudden we've got amnesia and we're forgetting this. This is, I told you we come back to this. This is the City of Burlington's resolution. And this resolution is the racial justice. Thank you, Zariah. This is the racial justice resolution. And after all of these well-established whereas clauses, this is what it says. It says that that the city declares a health crisis. This is outside of the public health emergency that the mayor partnered with us in the University of Vermont Medical Center, as well as the folks over at Chittenden County Regional Planning and many others like United Way Northwest, is separate from that declaration. But this resolution is from the city council that there's a crisis. It also says that the Burlington Police Department decreased through attrition, allowing officers to elect their own of their own accord to retire and leave for other reasons. The maximum total number of uniformed police officers by 30%, 105 to 74, and it further resolves that the general fund dollars be freed up by reducing the number of uniformed officers. Let me just restate that. It says that the general fund dollars freed up by reducing the number of uniformed officers shall be used to reduce the demand for police services through a variety of social services, as well as social justice, racial justice, and economic justice initiatives, including community-based cultural empowerment center, a minority-owned business municipal procurement program, and a capital access program, as well as operational capacity for the racial equity, inclusion, and belonging function as the city office with at least one staff person in addition. It goes on to say, resolving that the city shall terminate the memorandum of understanding between the Burlington School District and the BPD. I will just skim over these last ones because we're getting ready to run short on time. It was resolved that a joint committee of the City Council, a Public Safety Committee, and the Police Commission began an inquiry into the question of how to build a healthy and safe community and what institutions we need to reach that goal and so forth. That the above assessment, resolved that the above assessment shall include quote, rigorous public process and input, and include local groups like the Racial Justice Alliance, the Howard Center, Boys and Girls Club, and so forth. This is the assessment. Be it further resolved that trainings or events that explore the roots and impacts and solutions to systemic oppression, including but not limited to systemic racism, are required by city and staff at all levels at least 2 times a year and 3 times a year for the Burlington Police Department. It goes on and says that the city will establish a task force to consider an apology for reparations, and that a citizen-led police commission be entrusted with the access to all of the complaints of the sworn officers. Finally, the police commission will be entrusted to make, they may ask for a collection of additional quarterly demographic disaggregated data with officer encounters. And it goes on and talks about a charter change committee for proposed amendments to the city charter to authorize the police commission to approve by simple majority any disciplinary decisions. And finally, I'll leave it there because there's the whole negotiating the report and report use of force. So what am I really getting at here is that there's a lot more that has been either erased, ignored, or walked back, or literally clapped back than the director and the director's position in the REIB. There's a lot more. There's higher stakes. What am I talking about? You see, we made a tremendous amount of progress. There's many things in the Operation Phoenix Rise that went directly into this resolution. Oh, by the way, this resolution is still in full force. Still in full force. There was another resolution the following day that allocated $1 million towards this work. I can't get anybody to tell me what happened to over 600,000 of it. The strategy was to divest and reinvest. Divest from a failing apparatus that was not serving everybody the same, and reinvest into an apparatus such as the Community Empowerment Center, which would become, by the way, the Richard Kemp Center. That is what it is today. And that wasn't as a result of a reinvestment, because the money that was divested from policing was reinvested back into you guessed it, policing. And whether it was justified or not, let's not argue that point. Let's talk about it. In the absence of the money to invest in the racial justice that we said was a public emergency, who made the decision to go get more money elsewhere? So I'll say that one more time, and hopefully I can say it more clearly this time, is in the absence of, because what we knew is that this work of racial justice needed to be funded. And so what we understood is that we saw a place where at a 22% budget with the enforcement, with law enforcement, that we could possibly do that. Okay, that wasn't possible. Well, somebody should have figured out where to get it, and it shouldn't have happened where after the director left the city, that the mayor moved actually in the reverse direction, where he changed the general fund budget for the REIB to an ARPA fund. That was one thing. Another thing is there has never been, and there continues not to be, any discussion of ensuring that this department is codified in the city charter. And I can't seem to get a commitment from the mayor, a progressive mayor, to do so. So there are all kinds of challenges here about things that have been erased. We're pretending like the mission of this thing was never established and that we never figured it out because we're doing a citywide tour right now. Here's a quote from Moreau. "My hope is that the mission, vision, and capacity of the REIB department endures because it was and remains incredibly important to Burlington." So how could both of these things be true? How could Moreau be saying that there was a mission and vision, and right now we're saying that there wasn't? And oh, by the way, how do you even find this resolution online? It seems to be taken down off a line. I just looked for it earlier. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of crazy that's going on here. But here's the thing: we can do better, and we will do better. So that's it from here. We got to go, but we'll see if we can get Director Green on next time. I thank you for joining us. This is evidence that the only good party is a house party. Thank you for joining us, Black people. Issues affecting Black folks affecting change. You caught me. Juxtaposition, Reverend Mark Hughes, the Executive Director of Vermont Racial Justice Alliance. Have a good night. Peace.
My people with me, together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling me to answer? Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in